Welcome to the Focus TV. This is episode 215. A lot to get through tonight. As always, joined by Octavia Wyatt. We got Raymond Lyons, Cardell Dudley Jr., who's, as you guys can see, he's not at home right now. He's at the ESA. Mystics hosting the Sun tonight. Let's get straight to it. Cardell, provide a quick update. I know you, Raymond, and myself talked about the Mystics leading into this week after a tough road trip. And some roster changes. So, word on the street is they could maybe 6 feet against one of the best teams in the league tonight. I know it's halftime. What's going on at the ESA?
John Quill Jones. That's what's going on right now. We joked off up. It seemed like she caught the plane just to settle things MVP wise, and that's what she's doing. The Connecticut Sun are up 49-33. John Quill has done it all. 19 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, on 8 of 14 shooting from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. She's literally just doing whatever she wants right now. I don't like giving these proclamations out too often, but she looks like the best player in the WNBA. You can't, with everything she can do, her athleticism, her size, her skill. I mean, it's kind of unfair. Tina's doing what she can, but she's not as versatile as Jones. So that matchup kind of going Jones' way. Then, like you said, you add in the lack of depth for the Mystics. Having 6 players, and the Sun are just kind of going about this to wear them down. They keep shoving. They wearing them down in the paint. They're not really trying to force up a lot of threes. They working through their posts. They're working through John Quill. They're working through Bonner. Bonner's running a little point when John Quill can't get the ball. And even Bree Jones, I'm happy to see her finally coming to her own. She's been a force down there. Not too many players can bump Tina Thompson off the paint and get an offensive rebound consistently. She's one of the few. Then you had it what Jasmine Thomas is doing from the point guard position. He's kind of, right now having a way with Alani Mitchell. With the way he's scoring the ball defensively, she's bothering Alani. I see Anthony trying to be kind of a point guard, trying to facilitate, get the teams involved, but that lack of depth is tough. You know what I'm saying? And for those that don't know, the Connecticut Sun are number one in defense for a reason. And they lead for defense for a reason, so they're not going to let them get anything easy. Even when the Mystics made them up, they buckled down, got right back to their defensive ways, and they got the lead up to 16. So, it is what it is.
All right. Again, I don't think anybody's here 2 shots by this. I know they got another half. No, Washington's not going to roll over, but it's a very tall task. As you said, John Quill is ascending. You called this a long time ago when she was at W. We haven't been shocked that she's been continuing to ascend during her time in the league. This team was in the finals a couple years ago, folks, for a reason. You know what I'm saying? I know if people bring up Washington being in the finals, so was Connecticut. Just not shocked at all. I know before we let you go, we wanted to get into USA men's basketball team that got announced. So I want to let you go ahead and just start that conversation up before we let you get back to the Mystics.
Well, yesterday they announced the team officially, even though it's kind of been out there for, pretty much the last week or so. Hometown guy, Kevin Durant, no brainer, he's on the team again. Bam Adebayo, Bradley Beal for the Wizards. Devin Booker, Jeremy Grant, another local product out of DeMatha. Draymond Green, Drew Holiday, Zach LaVine, Damian Lillard, Kevin Love, Chris Middleton, and Jason Tatum. And they'll be coached by Greg Popovich, Steve Kerr, Larry Pierce, and Jay Wright. And Jay Colangelo serving his final Olympics and last year as managing director. After that, another local legend will take over, Brian Hill. Seems like the DMV is just starting to take over basketball as we know it. So, USA basketball's in great hands, man. And I'm just happy we could finally get our first chance to cover the Olympics for the first time. That's big for us. And I'm looking forward to it in a couple weeks.
You definitely all are. We're going to get to talking about the USA team a little bit more. We got a lot to get through tonight. We're going to try to hold things down with rapid fire and your absence. I know we're going to catch you later on for Mr. Outlook. So enjoy the rest of the game. And we're going to try to get through the rest of this night. We'll see you soon.
All right, man.
All right. All right, folks, as always, Cardell Dudley Jr. I know he's happy. He's in the gym somewhere. So as he mentioned, USA men's basketball. We're gonna get to Jerry Colangelo. I always mess up his last name. I think I finally got it right. Jerry Colangelo had a media availability. We got to sit in on that. They have some clips from that, playing it just a little bit. But for the team, just want to ask you guys initially what you thought. We already know about the injuries and all that good stuff, but the group that they have, and Rodney, if you don't mind, throw them graphics up one more time for everybody with the group they have in the backcourt and the front court. I'll tell you, we'll start with you. What do you think of this group now that it's officially been announced? Because Woj and Shams make sure nothing is actually new when stuff comes out because they do that.
Right. They do those things called like Woj bombs and stuff. Those things happen. Yeah. I mean, I feel like no matter who they put on the team, like USA is always going to be like a top favorite in the Olympics because we have so much talent. I think it was a great group. I mean, I did hear an interview with a certain ESPN analyst and former NBA player who stated that he didn't think one player necessarily made the grade to get there. And I kind of feel what he's saying. He put it into black and white, for lack of a better term, that it just seems like they're scared to have an all-black team. And I don't know if that's the case, but it just, I mean, I kind of agree with them in a certain sense. Kevin Love, as great as a player as he was, it's not like he's been on the radar of great players within the last couple of years. So I would be interested to see who they decided not to pick over him. Instead of him, I mean, so that's the only thing that kind of concerned me. But I'm happy to see two of my favorite players playing. Dame, I love Jason Tatum's game as well. I'm interested to see how Zach LaVine plays with them, and then of course the players that are still playing right now. With Chris Middleton, Devin Booker, and Drew Holiday, who are still playing right now, and all three of them still have the capability of playing all the way up until 2 days before they're supposed to start their first game. So I'll be interested to see how they're able to transition straight from coming off of a potential NBA Finals win or loss, because, them being on different teams with Devin Booker and then Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday. So I'll be interested to see how they come off of an NBA Finals. Of course, we talked about having a shortened season. We know how stressful these games have been on their bodies. So I'll be interested to see how they play. And then I'm interested just to see how the whole team meshes. Who's going to start? Who's going to come off the bench? Who's going to be that sniper person for them? Who's going to turn up in the Olympics? Because as you all know, my favorite player ever, he's never won an NBA Finals, but he's always turned up in the Olympics. So I'm interested to see who's that going to be. Yes. You know who I'm talking about. But anyways, I'm just interested to see who's going to be that sniper person, who's going to be that go-to person in the Olympics. But I'm just ready for all things Olympics. Every sport, like I love when the Olympics start, because after the finals, I always feel like there's a lull in the summertime with sports. Yes, I know it's baseball season, but I'm not a huge baseball person. I love the Olympics because there's so many different types of sports that you never really get to see like that unless you follow it outside of the Olympics, of course. So I'm super excited for the Olympics.
All right, Ray, your initial thoughts on the team. And we're going to get back to this a little bit in rapid fire because, people are petty, and Octavia already went there a little bit. So we're going to talk about it a little bit more.
I didn't
Ray,
mean to.
Thoughts on this. Oh, no. Hey, look, you're good. We got time. We can do whatever we want within our allotted time. So go ahead, Ray.
I like the group, man. I like that we're getting back to a place where some of the biggest names in the league are competing in the Olympics. I know that's been a topic of discussion over the past few years, with guys kind of choosing to sit out. But, I think it just kind of speaks to guys' competitiveness. They want to just reestablish that, the U.S. is the standard as far as basketball goes across the world. But yeah, man, it's it's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see how it turns out. Octavia brought up the coming off the shortened season and then guys potentially playing, right up until the Olympics start. So that's going to be interesting to monitor. But the fact that they're even in that position, they've committed. just kind of, it just kind of speaks to, guys wanting to partake in this. You know, yeah, man, I think it's going to be a good way to send Jerry off. I'm anticipating gold. With this group, I think anything less will be a monumental failure, to be honest. We're sending like some really good guys over. So yeah, man, it's going to be cool to watch. And again, the Olympics, those Olympic summers are always good because like Octavia said, sometimes that TV get a little hard to turn on sports wise during these summer months. Yeah, man, like really the only thing I watch during the summer is WNBA. So, it'll be good to have something else to kind of occupy my time. But yeah, man, it's going to be dope, man. And I'm sure I'll reserve my comments for that other thing until later.
My bad. Oh, you're on mute.
Appreciate it. Wouldn't be a show without that happening. I'm happy for the youngsters that are going, because far too often we get kind of bogged down with all the big names, and it should be fun because we're having people are having that whole changing of the guard conversation during this playoffs because that young crop is coming. So it's not shocking to see a good mix of the vets that they have, and low key, if you think about the vets that they went to get, kind of strategic with the ones they went to go get. They're kind of really good at the things that they do. They're kind of like just buffers for just in case some of the youngsters get over there and, have some moments. You only got some champions. Some people have done this before. Some people who can, put up 40 and they sleep. It's a fun group. And like Cardell mentioned, Ray, you mentioned as well, DMV is well represented on this group that's going over. So that's never a bad thing at all. So yeah, I can't wait. Again, we're gonna get to this. We're gonna talk a little bit more about this later on in today's show. Gonna take our first break. Then when we get back, we're gonna play one of the. We got two clips from the USA Basketball Availability with Jerry Colangelo. So we'll take a quick break. Then we get back. We'll check out that video. This week, Oohs and Ahs is offering a 4th of July family feast. Includes 1 pound of short ribs, 4 pieces of fried whiting, 2 barbecue chicken leg quarters, 1 large potato salad, 1 large baked beans, and corn on the cob. And as far as the service for corn on the cob, for 4. Costs $49.95 and it's available July 2nd through July 5th. It's $59.95 with 2 cocktails or 4 beers. Alcohol available at Georgia Avenue location only. Order from New Street or Georgia Ave today for your 4th of July celebration. Again, just head over to oohsandahs.com.
You mentioned that this is my 4th go at this, and it's really my swan song, if you will, in that when this Olympics is over, Grant Hill will be replacing me. And I couldn't be more thrilled to have him be that person. When Coach K and I put things together back in 05, 06, we talked about building infrastructure that would carry on after we're gone. And I believe that's really what's transpired. USA basketball is as strong as it's ever been. And I'm very happy with that. Having said that, there's work to be done. And that is one more go. And that is the Olympic efforts in Tokyo coming up in just a few weeks. And so, yeah, it's been a tough way to put things together. When COVID hit, the postponement of the Olympics for at least a year no one quite was sure about what would transpire and when. The compactness of the two NBA schedules back to back changed things a great deal. I think ultimately it had some impact on injuries that have transpired in the league. And so, you deal with the cards that you're dealt. And I think with the great efforts of our organization, I think we've put together a strong team to represent the United States. And so it's exciting for me always to be involved in putting the team together. And I think this year we have a blending of players with experience, international experience, some medal experience, and then new blood, which is always important. So with the staff we have and the commitment that I believe this organization has, we're looking forward to a terrific, not time, but a terrific opportunity to be successful. And trust me, that's our goal. There's one goal in mind, and that's to bring back the gold medal. And so with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Jerry. Let's start with Tim Reynolds, please.
Thanks, Craig. Hi, Jerry. Good morning out there.
Hey, Tim. Good morning.
Good morning. Jerry, when we were in China, I remember Kobe spoke before the medal round, and he said that the easy days were over, that he thought the world has caught up. How accurate do you think that is in the international game, or do you kind of look forward to maybe disproving that a little in the next few weeks?
Well, only time will tell, Tim. I will say this, basketball is a game where one or two players can make all the difference in the world. And the difference in game time, for example, a 48-minute NBA game versus a 40-minute international game is a big difference. Because in an NBA game, 48 minutes, you have time to come back. You might have 2 or 3 runs. And there's usually runs in every game. Sometimes in a 40-minute game, you run out of time. And on any given night, anything could happen. We suffered our only defeat against Greece back in 2006, our first defeat, which was a very difficult one to take, but we learned from that. We really did. And it proved a point. On any given night, a group of guys who hit some threes, make their free throws, and the other team goes cold, you can lose with an all-star studded team. And so you have to be prepared. You have to be ready. Don't take anything for granted. And I think that's where leadership takes place. That's where Coach Pop and his staff will be an important ingredient. We'll see. We'll find out after the Olympics just how far people have come or didn't come. So we're looking forward to it.
Next up, we'll go with David Aldridge, and then Mike Walters is on deck.
Jerry, how you doing, sir?
Hey, David.
Hey, wanted to ask you a couple of things. Number one, hindsight's always 20/20, but how much do you think the year delay impacted the team that you have put together? Do you think it would be a very similar team if you had been able to go last year, or did it completely overturn the team that you put together?
Well, if you subscribe to the theory that because of the compactness of the two NBA schedules, which may have led to maybe some injuries that might not otherwise have taken place, then yes, the pool was affected. Mm-hmm. I think there's 12 players actually, in our larger pool of players who really couldn't go, where their bodies had to heal this off season, or are suffering from existing injuries. Yeah. And so the pool was affected. The good news is we're very deep. We have a lot of great players in the NBA. We have a lot of great players in this country. And so It's a matter of tapping the right players to replace those who weren't able to participate.
Welcome back to the Focus TV. Oh man, it was he gave us an hour of his time the other day to sit and answer questions. I was shocked at how long and how patient that man was. There's a lot of questions with all the stuff going on. But shout out to him for definitely sitting through and thugging that out. Quick DC United update. The last time we talked, kind of offer a little bit more of a positive note. This one hurt this past week. This is a little bit of a gut punch. The Black and Red lost a heartbreaker to New York City FC on the road, falling 2-1 with the deciding goal coming near the very, very end of stoppage time. I'm talking about after the game-winning goal was scored. There was like 22 seconds before the final whistle was blown. As for DC United, Nigel Robertha, he received his first start for DC United, and he and Moses Nyman connected in the 9th minute for a very beautiful goal. Moses got the ball a little bit behind midfield, looked up top, hit Nigel with a pinpoint pass on the run. Roberta settled the ball, quick little step over and fired the ball past Sean Johnson, who's a hell of a keeper. Get back to Sean Johnson in just a little bit. So, DC United, you're on the road. You're up 1-0 early. Things look great. But for the remainder of the first half, DC United was fine. You're going to break. It's 1-0. They struggled a bit in the second half. In the past, we talked about they're not a team that aims to win the possession battle every match. It's more so what they do with the ball and how efficient they are when they do win it. On that day, they struggled to connect passes after winning the ball. So if you're already going into it not really planning to dominate possession, so to speak, but the last couple weeks we're talking about how well of a job they did creating opportunities, even though they didn't finish. They couldn't connect enough passes to even get attacks going in the second half. In the 84th minute, Keaton Park scored off a corner kick for New York City FC. It was a nice screen that was set for him. He got his man stuck, ran to the near post, flicked the ball past Bill Meade to provide the equalizer. Near the end of stoppage time, DC won a corner. They sent heavy numbers into the box. Paul Areola winded up getting a point-blank chance on the doorstep of the goal. It was blocked by Johnson. The ball was cleared. Russell gets another opportunity to play the ball back into the box. This time, I mentioned Sean Johnson earlier. New York City's keeper, he goes up, brings the ball down in the quickest outlet pass ever, hits Thiago on the right wing. Donovan Pines, the youngster kind of hesitated. It was a combination of hesitating and then a poor angle. Thiago hit the burners. He got into the box, cut the ball back, and then calmly beat Bill Meade to win the game. Hernan Losada talked about it being a lesson for him and his group, taking blame for the numbers that went forward at the end of the match, saying that they have to understand that they could have still got 1 point if they were able to get the draw. That said, the Black and Red, they get a week of training, some time to think about it before hosting Toronto FC on Saturday at Audi Field. As you guys can see here in this video that's up right now, you're about this thing ended with the goal that Thiago scores. This one right here is from Keaton Parks. It was a really nice service provided by Morales. It was tough to watch, man. It hurt watching a little bit to lose in that fashion. It's what makes sports, of course. But Octavia and Raymond can't wait for y'all to see exactly how this thing ends, because hear what y'all have to say about it. Now I'm dead serious. So that was an opportunity right there for Areola. Kevin Paredes played the ball off to him. Got it on his left foot. Shots a little wide. Like I've been saying, missed opportunities add up. You guys see it up in the corner, right? 4 minutes of stoppage time. This corner kick's taken with 93-46. All right. And this is the very, very, oh boy. This is how things ended. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, that space. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah,
Oh
this
no.
is just cut it back. Yeah, yeah, that's a tough way to go out. Again, 4 minutes to stop a shot. That goal was scored in what 94 minutes and like 6 seconds. So you know the whistle got blown so quick afterwards. But shout out to Sean Johnson to get that ball out of his hands quick. Clearly, he was thinking. And then Thiago did the rest, man. It was a really nice run in the game, very nice goal. But yeah, tough finish. They'll be hosting Toronto FC Saturday at home at Audi Field. I believe the game starts at 8:30. So definitely looking forward to that. We're going to take our second break. When we get back, a couple more clips from the Colangelo availability. And then we get into this NBA playoff thing because injuries is the theme of this year's playoffs. I guess I'll provide a spoiler alert now or later. I'll wait a little bit. So we're going to get into NBA playoffs. Then some rapid fire. And I tell you, I got a fun one in rapid fire for you to get you kind of just primed for the NFL season. Oh yeah, it's fun times.
Okay.
You know how PFF does. It just comes up with stuff to
nervous.
make people upset. You should be. You'll probably be offended when we get to it.
Oh,
It'll go
gosh.
past nervous to offended. So we're going to take our second break. You're watching Focus TV. When we get back, some more clips from Jerry Colangelo's USA basketball availability. See you guys soon.
Thing we had going for us is that we've had, I'll say, 2 years to look at players we had some interest in. Just watching games and watching players develop and all the things that have happened regarding injuries and so on and so contract situations. So, Zach's come a long way in terms of his game. He's a, freak athlete in that sense, capable of going off and putting some big numbers out there, but he's full of enthusiasm. I wasn't that long ago when he and I spoke on the phone. He almost jumped through the phone. He was so excited about the opportunity. And I love that, when you have a few people who maybe didn't expect to be there, who are just so exuberant about the opportunity, they add a lot of juice to the whole situation. And that's where he falls. I think he'll make a contribution for whatever amount of time he may get. He's going to be there ready to go, and he's going to push some people, and I like that. I'm sorry, you mentioned one other player.
Kevin, I mean, also an injury type season for him and just finished the playoffs, still wanted to be there.
Yes.
How impressed or surprised were you that he said, I want to play?
Well, this guy is a very, very special individual, in my opinion. I met him when he was a freshman at Texas and thinking about leaving school and going into the draft. And I remember meeting him at the Final Four and invited him to come to our training camp. And his eyes were as big as you can imagine. He was so excited. He said, I'll be there. And so he's always had this great enthusiasm for playing USA basketball, for playing the game of basketball. He's been in my opinion, a real warrior. I love the guy as a player. I love him as a person. And the fact that he stepped up as he did to commit himself didn't surprise me. I was very, very pleased because he's a very, very important part of our potential success.
I wanted to ask you specifically about one player, Jeremy Grant. What do you see in him, and what do you think he can add to this team's roster in Tokyo?
Well, his versatility. He's an athlete. He's long. I think length is an important ingredient when you're looking at players who play certain positions. He's become really a good scorer. I think he averaged over 21 a game this year. So versatility is the key. And by the way, I think that's a trademark of this group. Players who can play a couple of positions, some of them even 3 positions. So I think he fits in just like a glove. And I think we will have a lot of depth on this team because of that versatility. Bam, we've always liked. He's a young, athletic guy. He can run the court. He's a shot blocker. He plays above the rim. And so, a young guy like that is very, very important. Everyone has a role. and he has a specific job to do, and I'm sure he'll do it well. As far as Draymond Green is concerned, in conversation with Steve, his opinion is he's as good a big man defender as there is in basketball. And it doesn't matter how big he's defending against. He's as smart as they come defensively. He's aggressive. He just knows how to play. And so much of what he does doesn't reflect itself in numbers in terms of a stat sheet. He's a winner. He's a competitor. He has a toughness that you must have on every team, and he can flat out defend. So I think you'll see him matched up against a lot of big guys we'll be playing against. You know, the preponderance of the individuals on foreign teams or international teams is that they have a lot of bigs who can play. And so you just don't throw a big in there because there's a big he's defending. You put someone in there who knows how to defend a big.
Good afternoon, Jerry.
Hi, Wilson. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for your time. My one question was just if you could talk about the decision that went into selecting Bradley Beal of the Washington Wizards.
Always had a lot of interest in Bradley Beal. And I think he's a classic example of a guy who has really upgraded his game. He's gotten better and better each year. That's my 2 cents worth on him. I think he's a big time scorer, another guy capable of big numbers. He competes. I think he's a great guy. I think he'll fit like a glove on this team and gives us that additional firepower. And we have a lot of that on this team, on this roster.
Welcome back to the Focus TV. As promised, I'm gonna get to these NBA playoffs. It's crazy because I think by the time we get back, like for next week's show, because you talk about the NBA finals, depending on how stuff goes, might even be a game into next week's NBA finals, depending how things shake out or not. But just something to keep an eye on. As far as the NBA playoffs go tonight, Milwaukee's taking on Atlanta. I think in game 4 of their series. But quick little news, I mentioned this a little earlier. Trae Young, bone bruise, will be out for this game. I'm not going to speculate in terms of what it means for the remainder of the series. But, I think we all saw when he stepped on, I think the official's foot near the end of last game. I know he finished last game, but I think we thought maybe nothing more than a sprained ankle or whatever. But it fits the trend of injuries. A lot of folks were talking about it's literally just going to be a war of attrition. Wouldn't be surprised if just like literally the 2 healthiest teams ended up in the finals. And things are kind of, tracking that way for the most part. It depends on how the Clippers feel. But as far as the Hawks and Milwaukee go, we'll start with them. Again, Milwaukee goes up 2-1 thanks to a crazy second half from Chris Middleton, U.S. Olympic team member Chris Middleton. Thoughts on game 3 where Milwaukee took the series lead? We'll start with you, Octavia, and then we'll get to you, Ray.
As much as we talked about Chris Middleton in the past, I definitely believe he deserves his flowers in this series. He's definitely been there. He's been playing hard. And as much as we talk about Giannis and how long it takes him to shoot free throws, it seems like he's finally got on a rhythm. And he don't care who's counting and who's saying what. He gonna take his time and shoot his free throws. And it's been working for him. I will say he's definitely sped up the process a little bit ever since they had the report that the referees missed 2 of the last free throws in one of the games. But especially without Trae playing now, and Trae obviously, has been having a rough series. 9 turnovers in one game, and he definitely came back in the last game, but Chris Middleton just took over for the Bucks in the last quarter and outscored the Hawks all by himself, 20-17 in the fourth quarter. That's just it's too much. And when the Bucks are playing at a higher level, they're too much for the Hawks. And especially without Trae, it's going to be nearly impossible unless somebody really steps up. We talked about how Kevin Huerter did my man Seth Curry real dirty in the last one, and He's been a little missing in action in this series. So he's got to have a big game if they're going to stay anywhere near them in this game, in my opinion. But I really feel like without Trey, it's going to be next to impossible for them to pull this out. So I'm kind of already banking on, the Bucks pulling it out tonight. But if Trey can get back and they can get back on track, it's still doable. But it's definitely hard for them without Trey. And even when Trey is playing, he has to play at a high level just because he's been having some rough games as well. So it's just going to be a difficult series for them going forward without those players stepping up. And with Giannis playing the way he's playing, with Chris Middleton playing the way he's playing, the defense of Drew Holiday, the toughness of Bobby Portis and PJ Tucker, it's a lot if they can't get it together.
All right, I see you knocking out all my notes, talking points in one response. All right, Ray, your thoughts?
That makes me feel good. That makes me feel like I know what I'm talking about at times.
All right, Ray, your thoughts on this series? See if you can finish off the rest of my notes.
To be perfectly honest, man, if Chris Middleton is going to play like this, then Milwaukee's going to win the championship.
We wrap it up.
every postseason, that's the thing we kind of talk about, man. Chris Middleton, being that consistent guy for them. When he's on there, they're just a completely different team, man. Like, they're already really good, but if he's playing at this level, then they're almost impossible to stop. As far as Atlanta goes, yeah, they came out and got game one, then they got overwhelmed in game two. Game three, it was, the unfortunate injury to Trey happened, and Milwaukee took advantage, kind of handled business down the stretch. But they're playing with house money right now, so it's just good to see them out there competing. And even a game like tonight, this is what I call a trap game, man, because Milwaukee, they're already up in the series. Then, of course, with Trey not playing, like, this is no way anybody thinks they're going to lose this game. But as we've seen, Atlanta's not the type of team to just roll over. Not saying they're going to win. Not saying the odds aren't highly stacked against them, but they could just be on some we don't have anything else to lose type stuff, and come out and guys just step up. We've seen it. Octavia brought up Kevin Huerter's performance in the last series. So they're still an NBA team. You still got to respect those guys if they're capable of beating you. I don't think Milwaukee has a motivation problem, especially with a guy like Giannis at the helm. His goal is to destroy you, and that's how he plays. So yeah, man, we'll see how this one goes. And it's just unfortunate that a good series like this kind of gets marred by injury. Hopefully it's nothing serious and Trey can come back for the next game. But even with that being said, it doesn't take anything away from, if Milwaukee's able to win the game tonight, doesn't take anything away from that. You got to play who's in front of you. So yeah, man, just and Octavia brought up a good point, man. When Chris Middleton plays bad or doesn't step up in people's eyes, the peanut galleries are really loud, and it's all this chatter, but he comes out and has a huge performance like that, and those same people go radio silent. Like, if you're going to kick the guy while he's down, give him the props when he comes through. I mean, it's really not that hard. Same thing for Giannis. We saw it last series. It was all Wabby guard, Kevin Durant, blah, blah, blah. And then when he closed the series out, we didn't have none of that energy on the other end. But I'm sure they don't care. I really don't care either. It's just funny to watch. But yeah, man, Milwaukee looks like I think they had the feeling that this is their chance. They've had championship expectations for a few years now, but this is probably their most realistic chance during that span, and they look like they wanted to take advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah, we talk all the time here about teams understanding those opportunities that they have and the windows that are available to them. It seems like Milwaukee definitely, they understood the assignment fully. They get it. Like, you don't want to mess this one up. People are hurt. And regardless of that, you're in a you have a great opportunity to go up 3-1, get closer to finishing the series off, get a little bit of rest, and get ready for the finals. Why postpone things? Like, we're going to get to another team on the other side of things where, they kind of came in with a lackadaisical attitude, and things got, a little real for them last night. They had an opportunity to close the series out. Now there's work to be done now for Phoenix because of the approach that they took. And that's where it got them. Like you said, I think we mentioned, I forgot how many shows ago, just talk about Atlanta. Obviously, it's a great run, but this is what hurt. Like we mentioned at some point in time, the injuries to their young wings that they had is going to catch up to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a series when you're missing DeAndre Hunter that you took in the top 10 to play defense, to bother someone like Chris Middleton. And right now, no disrespect to Solomon Hill, you ain't signed Solomon Hill to be playing Hunter's or even Cam Reddish's minutes. You signed Solomon Hill, like Solomon Hill's for in case of emergencies, and it's an emergency at that position right now. Right.
Right.
I mean, even Lou Will too. Lou Will was supposed to go there just to retire. He like, I gotta actually play. He's like, I got shipped here to like go to the club, get some wings, and relax. But I gotta like actually get out here and play for real. Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Told me I was going to get the rest. The young boys got it.
Yeah,
30 minutes in the playoffs, coach. But yeah, like you said,
like an ice bath every night
for Atlanta. And regardless, it was a good run, and they see what they know they got a chance to see up close kind of what they're missing, and there's a reason they spent picks on wings already. Give them credit for how they went about building their team. Just the kids are hurt. On the other side of things, everyone's other favorite punching bag, Mr. Paul George and the Los Angeles Clippers. They stayed alive with a 116-102 win, forcing a game 6 in LA, which will take place tomorrow night. So I want to ask you guys, Ray, I'll start with you on this one. Obviously with, like you said, with the peanut gallery, loving to hate Paul George and all this other stuff, there was this stat that popped up last night, which I hope everybody just leaves Paul George alone for quite a while now. He made a list with Mike, Kobe, and Kevin of people to score at least 20 points in 18 consecutive postseason games and like a run. So Mike's done it 3 times. Kevin's done it twice. Kobe was on there for doing it once. And Paul is now the 4th member of this club. Leave him alone. Just leave him alone. And again, this is also one of those situations where everyone would find out Kawhi was hurt. People kind of just threw the Clippers in the trash, which is, Phoenix is ready. Let's crown them. And and 41 points later, when, even like last night during the first half, the peanut gallery was like, what is Paul doing? There's this thing. I think sometimes y'all only recognize it when it's the player that you like that does it. You get your teammates going, then you pick your spots, then they're riding with you. And then it's kind of like too much for the opponents. And yeah, shout out to Reggie Jackson. Someone's going to end up paying this man way too much money very soon. Shout out to him for the bag that he might have coming his way. But yeah, Ray, your thoughts on the Clippers forcing Game 6?
Yeah, man. You first of all, you took the words right out of my mouth. Reggie Jackson then played himself into a whole lot of money. But and that it's great to see, man, because he's been awesome for them in his run. And and as far as Paul George goes, yeah, man, I'm really happy to see him perform the way he's performed in these playoffs. He's been instrumental in their success. I get it, he didn't play well in the bubble, but he's kind of quieted that for me, because and then on top of that, he's played the more minutes than anybody in the playoffs. So all the other everybody else gets excuses for being tired. I'm sure he's tired. I'm sure his body's hurting, and he's still putting his team on his back and doing what needs to be done. But in regards to the game, that was a dangerous loss for Phoenix. You got to put people away when you have the opportunity. Now they got to go to LA and play a Game 6 where they're going to be juiced up. And if you find yourself in a Game 7, then Oh man, I don't want to. I don't want to know what's going through your head at that point, and after game 4, they Chris Paul talked about his previous relationships with 3-1 leads, which lets me know it's already on his mind. So if it gets to the point where that's even a possibility, then man, I don't know how that's going to play out, So yeah, man, that wasn't good for them last night, man. They were supposed to get them up out of there. You got a chance to close it out at home. You got to finish them. And yeah, man, like you said, the way Paul George and Reggie Jackson are playing, is they're not going to go away. They've been consistent. Like it's not like you could just count on them to fade into the abyss. This ain't the bubble. that dude is hooping. I don't, no matter what Twitter says, Paul George is hooping this postseason. And then with with Kawhi going out, I think it even made him a little freer. Like he's been a number one option in his life before, and a good one. So this is not foreign territory to him. Like he knows the expectations of having that responsibility, and he clearly has the skill and the talent to come through. So yeah, man, this is this scary hours for Phoenix. I don't know how this gonna go for them. But it will really suck for them to have their run come to an end like this. I know I'm kind of putting the cart ahead of the horse because it's only coming up to game 6, but yeah, man, it's going to be the timeline's going to go crazy on one of these guys at the end of this series, whether it's deserved or not. I'm like you always say, Wilson, I'm just here for chaos. So yeah, but no, all jokes aside, man, that's been a great series. Both of those teams have been playing really well in the playoffs, and I'm just here to see them battle it out.
Octavia, your thoughts on Clippers, Suns?
Again, it's a great series. I like, to be honest, if I had to choose between the two series, I'm so keyed in on the Suns and Clippers series. I just feel like it's just so much talent on both sides, and it can go either way. You talk about Chris Paul and his love-hate relationship with 3-1 leads. That's all that's been talked about lately, and they've already come out and said that he's already expressed to his team, like 3 games get you nothing. We got to go out here and finish it, and they were unable to do that in game 5. So I definitely just think at this point it comes down to playoff experience. Like a lot of people that's playing on the Clippers have a lot of playoff experience, and they know like it's not over until it's over. And I think the Suns were a little lackadaisical when you have a lot of players that don't have that, that drive or that knowledge of how hard it is to close out a series. And I'm not saying they don't know that, because of course they have closed out series within this playoff run, but it's nothing like closing out a series to get to a finals. And especially how bad they want to do it for Chris Paul. We all know Chris Paul has never been to an NBA Finals in all the years he's been in the league. He's 36 now. It's definitely tough for him. So I just think that they need to be on one from the jump. But although we talk about the Suns, I really think it's the Clippers that are turning it on at the right moment. We talk about definitely Reggie Jackson is definitely playing his way into a bag. We talk about, everybody talks about, is it going to be playoff P or is it going to be pandemic P that we're going to get in a game? That's what they like to say. I understand, people have their opinions, but you can never discount Paul George. You just can't do it. Me personally, I think the issue just is that he's not showing all the time that clutch gene that a lot of people want their superstar to have. We talk about, he missed his 2 free throws at the end of the game. Yeah, he has issues, but when he's there and he's locked in, he's locked in. And like Ray also pointed out, he's played the most playoff minutes than anybody in the playoffs this year. He's got to be exhausted. These players are human, like they get tired too. And especially he can't take a night off, especially with Kawhi not being there. But we talk about Paul. We talk about Reggie Jackson. But to me, the 2 people in the last game that really bring it home for them is going to be Patrick Beverly. The defense he's playing in this series is crazy. And it's crazy because this is always Patrick Beverley. He's always that irritant. He's always in your grill. He always says, I want you to be uncomfortable. And he's making Devin Booker uncomfortable. Even, yes, Devin Booker's playing with a mask on. It's hard for him to see out his peripheral or whatever excuse you want to say. But Patrick Beverley is up in him, and it's definitely showing because you can see when he's not being guarded, when Devin Booker's not being guarded by Patrick Beverley, he's able to get a little bit more. But when Patrick Beverley is there, it's so hard for him to get to the basket. It's so hard for him to score. And then we talk about who's been missing in action in a lot of this series, and Marcus Morris Sr., who had an amazing game in their last game. They said he scored more points in that one game than he scored in all three of the first games. He only scored in single digits in all three of the first games, and I think he had 25 in this last game. So if he can get going, it takes some pressure off of Paul. It spreads the floor. It helps them so much, and especially because they're playing without Zubac now, so who's also got bit by the injury bug. So that puts in Nicholas Batum, who has to play the 5 at times, and they're stretching it as much as they possibly can. They're throwing the zone at them because they don't have Zubac, and of course Serge Ibaka's been out for eons at this point. But if the Clippers can put another game together like they did in the last one, it's going to be tough. Especially because, like I said, Zubac wasn't playing. I feel like the Suns didn't key in on DeAndre Ayton enough. You know, he's the biggest thing down there. You know, they don't have anybody huge, bigger than him. So I don't understand why he wasn't the focal point. But I feel like that's something that they're probably discussing as we speak now. And hopefully they are able to key in on that, get him involved more. But it's just a great series. You never know which way it's going to go. It's really just depends on who's going to be on that night and who's locked in more.
Nah, you guys are definitely right with that series. And yeah, that's the craziest thing to me. I was sitting there watching last night. I'm just like, so you have a DeAndre Ayton and y'all want to shoot contested shots over Nick Batum, who has the longest arms ever, and
why?
Paul George. Okay, cool, no problem, whatever. Meanwhile, they're just searching for mismatches. They're going to get everybody not named DeAndre Ayton and enjoying offense. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, he's the biggest guy out there. Leave him alone. Let's pick on Book. Hey, Chris, come here, buddy. Hey, where's Crowder at? You too. Bridges at times. Like Octavia, you mentioned, Marcus Morris getting off to that early start really changed a lot of things for them. And then it was a reminder, too, like, he's bigger than almost everybody Phoenix has not named Ayton. Except, you know, obviously when they're backup days, like Sarge comes on, but the other folks on the court, Morris has a size advantage. He had folks down on the block and what was it? Turn around right shoulder,
down there all night.
left shoulder. Hey, and they was letting Book die down there.
Yeah, letting them, just leaving them out there to die. And Marcus Morris was like, "That's cool, all right."
So we'll see how that plays out tomorrow night. Should be exciting again when we get back next week. We should be we possibly be talking about the NBA Finals. As of right now, Atlanta out to a quick start on the Bucks. Then we got time for a rapid fire question. Which way of violence do I choose this evening? All right, so I'm gonna let you guys. We got the PFF thing, NBA draft topic, or the USA team. I'm gonna let you guys choose real quick. I think we got time for one, so I'm gonna let y'all pick.
I don't know. I'm nervous.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna just go any money mo at this point.
No, it's cool. I'm like Ray said. What do we believe in, sir? Chaos.
Chaos. I like chaos.
They did what they did best. Started a riveting conversation on Twitter with one tweet earlier today. Here's their list of top 10 quarterbacks starting from 10 to 1. Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Kirk Cousins, Matt Ryan, Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Russell Wilson, Octavia, I heard you, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and Patrick Mahomes. So I wanted to ask you guys both real quick, just your thoughts on said list. And then if there was any part of the list you would like to change or any part of the list that elicited some type of an offensive feeling, if you will. So Octavia, your thoughts on the list, and then Ray.
Oh my God, I did not see this. So this is definitely something that I missed. Come on, the disrespect of Lamar Jackson is ridiculous. Do you really have Kirk Cousins higher than Lamar Jackson? Do you really have Baker Mayfield higher than Lamar Jackson? Like, I really have no words at this point. Like, I'm sitting here like I'm about to pull this up. Like, y'all playing, right? They didn't really post that. Like, what's wrong with y'all? Like, okay, here it goes. I legit am like baffled. Okay, I get Patrick Mahomes, I get Tom Brady, I get Aaron Russell, I get Russell Wilson. I'm not completely sold on Josh Allen. What has he done? He's had one great season. Don't get me wrong. He definitely had a great season. But I mean, I just feel like you have to have longevity of some sort. Maybe, maybe not. Kirk Cousins, Matt Ryan, get out of here. Like, that is so disrespectful to Lamar Jackson. It makes no sense. And this is not even me being petty as far as in the East. Even Dak Prescott, like, don't get me wrong, Dak Prescott is a great quarterback. I'm not saying he's not. But come on, Lamar Jackson, that is so disrespectful. And I hope he sees this. I hope he internalizes it all. And I hope he goes out there and kicks everybody. Like that is ridiculous. Like, that just ruined my whole night. I didn't even see that.
I'm sorry.
Like,
so I feel even better about the question that I chose. Ray, your thoughts on it before we leave?
Yeah, I hadn't seen that either. That's wild, man. They need to wake up and get on Twitter tomorrow and pull the Jay Williams. I was hacked.
Oh, they're not.
This is
what they do. They're gonna triple down tomorrow.
This is
whoever PSF_Eric is, we need to have a conversation, sir. I'm gonna need you to reevaluate your skills and what you look at. Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, this is foolishness, man. Like, what are they doing over there?
Matt Ryan. Baker Mayfield is better than Lamar Jackson. Get out of here, bro. I am very bothered by this.
Yeah, they
I've done my job.
This is chaos. This is definitely chaos.
Yeah,
because they are. Yeah, they should definitely hit the J Will. Yeah, I was hacked. I don't know who that is. PFF_Eric. I'm gonna need you to reevaluate your life, sir, because that ain't it. Go back to the drawing board and do it over.
The funniest part to me, honestly,
company.
The best part to me was he works there and y'all dimed him out in the tweet. Like, yeah, they're like, he did this. Like, here's what he did. That's like, y'all wanted the engagement, but you ain't want to go out with Eric. You want to make sure if Eric go down. Y'all put his mentions.
Yeah, put his mentions in shambles because they should be in shambles. They should be definitely in shambles. Yeah. I just can't get over Kirk Cousins.
That's Kirk not Cousins worthy of a discussion, man. That's a terrible list. That's an awful list. Like,
hey, look, wow, man, we gotta say this in one of my other group chats I'm in. If I had to see it, you guys had to too. So I saw this earlier on Twitter.
I want to pick his brain and learn. Like what, bro?
I mean,
it took everything. I'm not even going to share this earlier.
I'm not even going to get worked up. I'm just going to report the page.
Oh wow, that's where you're at with it.
Like,
report it for spam.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
Oh my goodness.
Like there was so many other quarterbacks that he could at least put on the list that would have made it slightly decent. Slightly.
He chose violence.
That could have made it slightly decent. Why is Kirk Cousins on this list?
For that reaction.
Why
he chose pure violence.
Is he there?
Like, and honestly, where did he dig Matthew Ryan up out of? That's tough. Like, Matt Ryan was minding his business. You threw him in this whole thing.
I mean, Matt Ryan that lost it. Oh, yeah. Lord Jesus. Matt Ryan and Kirk Cousins are like, I made the list. Me?
Hey, nah, Kirk. Now, you know what Kirk did? Kirk made a call to his agent. Was like, tell him to throw something else on that. I'm on that list. You see where I'm at? You see who's behind me. Well, thank y'all for tuning in.
Right.
We appreciate it. That man got the best agent in the world. Don't forget
He
to get over to
do.
DCTV every Friday, 10 p.m. And then obviously head over there to find out when the shows re-air throughout the weekend. And in the meantime, get over to focustv.com for, I mean, there's just a lot going on over there with the content because we're busy. So we got, I think, Mystics Outlet, like, within the next 20 or 30 minutes. So we'll see you guys then. Have a good night.